Hi everyone, Connie Waddell here from Elite Auctions and Fundraising Services, and I want to say hello and welcome you to a very short, less than 10-minute webinar, but one that I know is going to offer you some wonderful ideas in order to increase your revenue at your next fundraising event. So let's get started. Have you ever wondered why your bidders don't bid higher? Today I'm going to share with you 3 critical must-dos in order to prepare your bidders to bid higher. Let's talk about what you might do prior to your event in order to prepare your bidders. And first of all, I'd like you to imagine a guest attending your event without any information as to the exciting items you'll be selling at your live auction. They did not have sufficient time during the cocktail hour, the silent auction hour, to read through the provided handout or catalog and to become familiar with specific details of the item and to gauge their desire to purchase that item when all of a sudden the auction begins, the bidding begins. Now, your guest may very well raise their paddle at a beginning level of bidding, but as the amounts increases, they become uncertain and much more hesitant to continue bidding. Now let's imagine if that guest had received several emails and seen Facebook or other social platforms announcing and detailing items that were being sold at your auction. This guest would then have time to become familiar with the item, perhaps discuss the item with their family and friends, and reach a logical and or even emotional decision that they want that item. I want to share with you one thing, and forgive me for reading this, but I just came across this the other day. It's a survey conducted by the Pew Research Center in 2018, which read, Facebook remains the primary platform for most Americans. Roughly 2/3 of the United States adults now report that they are Facebook users. But the social media story extends well beyond Facebook. The video sharing site YouTube, which contains many social elements, even if it's not a traditional platform, is now used by nearly 3/4 of the United States adults. And the typical American reports that they use 3 of the 8 major platforms. Let's talk about what you might do during the social hour prior to the live auction. I highly recommend a live auction table displaying all the items to be sold at your live auction. You'll want to have prepared posters of the trips, and if the actual item is available, you'll definitely want that on display. For example, if you happen to be selling a man's Rolex watch, that'll be lovely to have on display there. And then you'll want to have trained volunteers at the live auction table. And when I say trained, I mean volunteers that are familiar with the items being sold at the live auction. And they can provide exciting information about each item and answer specific questions from your potential bidders. Be sure to ask your auctioneer to make live auction item announcements every 10 to 15 minutes, encouraging guests to visit the table and highlighting individual items at the table. For example, ladies and gentlemen, be sure and stop by our live auction table where we have the men's beautiful Rolex watch on display. These announcements should be no more than 30 seconds long, and as I said, every 10 to 15 minutes. Let's talk about what we can do during the auction to prepare our bidders. I highly recommend you create a PowerPoint presentation or something to that effect that can be seen by each and every guest, and it will show beautiful and exciting pictures of the item being sold. Now, as far as description, you'll want to use just the basic information on the presentation itself. No one really takes the time or has the time to read a lot of text. So just keep it real simple, but make the pictures lovely and beautiful and exciting to your guest. Each slide then, of course, will be presented in the order and when the auctioneer is selling that item. You'll want to, of course, provide a complete description to your auctioneer so he can fully explain to the bidders the item they are bidding on. And I highly recommend you utilize professional bid spotters. I myself have been trained at the Professional Ringman's Institute, and I know through experience that not only am I the eyes and ears for my auctioneer, but I instinctively can tell when a bidder has a question or a concern and is hesitant to raise their paddle. So be sure you have professional ringman. I would say one bid spotter for every 150 guests attending your event. Once again, in order to assure higher bids at your live auction, please incorporate these 3 elements to your event. Number 1, notify your guest way beforehand by using email and other social media platforms to tell them what you are selling at your live auction. Number 2, be sure to have a live auction table set up that guests can visit during the cocktail hour. And number 3, be sure to have some sort of presentation that all the guests can see describing the items as the auctioneer presents them for bids. If you have found this video to be of value and would like to watch more awesome free webinars on how to greatly increase your revenue at your fundraising event, simply click here.